Hi, good morning, Ethan. Hello.
Hi,
Hey,
Niladri, how are you?
good
Morning.
morning, Nitin. Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Good. All good. Just
Good, good.
in office, but can attend this. Yeah. Sorry for the late.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. So is it a 9:30 or 10:30 there?
It's 10:30.
Okay, okay. So yeah, because some because it's follow AEST, right? Or AEDT.
I think it is AEST here
Okay.
because in Perth and Northern Territory, it is 2
Okay.
hours, 2.5 hour difference.
Okay, okay, okay. No problem. Yeah. So we'll start with, okay. So
Okay,
yeah,
Let's go. Yeah.
yeah, sure. So can you see my screen, the slides?
Yes, I can. I can see
Okay.
SAP Australia payroll.
Okay, okay, sure. Let me full screen it. Yeah. So first, today we will be starting with the payroll process. So before we start, just I wanted to know, have you ever worked on any payroll processes in the or any other, I mean, not only SAP or any other payroll? Just to know the background.
Uh, Not actually. Not.
Okay.
I'm not.
Your means in terms of process also you're brand new to the payroll processes, whether it is SAP or Oracle or any Workday, it doesn't matter. Okay, so this
I
payroll process.
know I have some idea about it, but in the system I have not worked.
Okay, okay, that's fine. Yeah, just let me know you're comfortable whenever, because I'll be today discussing the payroll processes. Then, if time permits, then we'll be going ahead with the Australia specific payroll process. Then
All right, right.
proceeding further, because for understanding anything, if you're going for before going to any system, it's better always to understand the processes the first. So that is the priority on any consultant like us. So I'm not going to very details of the payroll processes because in payroll processes there are
Yes.
different levels of processes. Okay, so it may or may not be applicable, but the generic one I'll be sharing. Okay, so this will be our agenda. So first 20 minutes, 20 I'll be discussing the payroll. 15 20 minutes I'll
Payroll,
discuss
15,
the
20 minutes, I just
payroll processes,
payroll processes,
L0 L1 processes.
L0, L1 processes.
Is it echoing
Yeah.
my voice?
No, no, not at all.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So then will be followed by basics of Australian payroll. In Australian payroll, today I'll be discussing about four things. So demography is which is the basic one. Then national employment standards that we call NES. Okay, it is not like your onboarding NES. So it's a national employment standard specific to Australian
Yeah.
payroll. Then tax and reporting, which is the basics taxes and reporting that you already knowing, but still I'll be focusing part of the taxes and reporting in general. In the latest one also I've updated. And the leaves, there is something called pair law. Okay, so what are the types of leaves and how it affects the payroll, that we'll be discussing. Then followed by the Q&A. If you have any question, last 5-10 minutes we'll be focusing on that. So agenda is clear for you or anything?
All good.
Okay. So we'll be starting with the basic payroll process. So I have taken the it from nothing from SuccessFactors process library itself. Okay. So when we say payroll processes, so have you ever worked on any process specific tool like Visio or any other tools, Aris? Uh,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. So you have also customized client specific. You must have customized those specific to the client processes, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Once I worked on that one project, yes.
Okay, okay, okay. Because many of times I have to work very process specific this kind of workshop as well. So there are other teams also working on that in my current company, but still it is better to know one or two tools like Aries or Visio is the basic common one. So anyway, it's the one. So what Aries or some other tools. So there are many other tools. Business process modeling tool. We call it BPML. Okay. So you must knowing L0. There are different levels of process. L0 means the top level, root level processes. So when it comes to the payroll, we have as per SAP or in general, we have four basic L0 level processes. That is the pre-payroll, run payroll, post payroll, and followed by the periodical activities. Okay. So whatever we do on a day-to-day basis, generally that comes under the last bucket. Okay, that is a periodical activity. Suppose we are putting a reimbursement. Okay, as per the company policies, suppose it is paid every 7 days or every 15 days. Okay, so generally that comes under periodical activity. So when I say pre-payroll, what are the activities we do before running the payroll? Okay, so it can be master data updation on a regular basis, or before just payroll, we have put a cutoff date. Okay, suppose every month 15th or every month 22, if it is a monthly payroll and your monthly payment is say 25th of particular month, okay, or last working day of that particular pay month. Okay, so in that case, what are the activities we do? We do, when I say we, that is the payroll administrator or the payroll process manager, who are the part of the responsible for the completing the payroll admin activities. So what are the activities they have to do in the pre-payroll? So that we'll be discussing. Okay. So when I say run payroll, the second one, so during the whenever you are running the payroll, what are the things you do? Okay, so some activities you do in the system, some activities you do, some manual or some communications also to be sent in different parties. Okay, so when it would be exactly done, that will be discussing in the run payroll. So once your payroll is run successfully.
So, what could be the example for the communicating to different parties? Like when I'm running the payroll, what sort of communication, for example?
I'll be coming to that. So whenever you're running the payroll, it is not like you are directly running in the live system. Okay? Before running, you will be running some dry run or simulation run, we call that. Okay, in technically. So whenever you are running a simulation run, then you just came to know that there are some bank data is missing. Okay. So when I say bank data is missing, particular data, so you'll be communicating with your, say, there is another set of people or HR people who are responsible for maintaining the master data. Okay. So you'll be sending alert to them. Directly it is, when I'm saying alert, it is directly coming from EC payroll. Okay. Otherwise, it may happen you're sending an email to them or you are just calling them over phone. Okay, so that can be one of the example. Or say I'll be giving another example. Say,
Okay.
some text related information is missing. In Australia, it is TFN. We call it TFN. You must be knowing, right? Text file number.
Yeah.
Yeah. So suppose text file number is missing for all the new joinees who have joined recently, and suppose a third party person. When I say third party person, it can be your internal person as well, like HR, or another person who takes care of, suppose you have outsourced a particular part of your job to a third party who is responsible for updating all those TFN for the new employees. Okay, so in that case, you will be getting back and forth with them before, means during the run. When I'll not be saying running the payroll, rather 1 or 2 days before, whenever you came to know that in the simulation run there is some error because some data is missing.
Yeah.
In that case, you will be just reaching out to them and getting it updated. Okay? So those can be the scenarios.
Okay.
I'm just giving the rough examples. So there can be other scenarios as well that will be coming in the L1 processes. Okay. Okay. So that can be the run payroll in that run payroll processes. Okay. Once your run payroll is done, when I said done, the meaning of the done is here, your live payroll is run. Okay. When I say simulation run, it is not a run, particular, just for your reference. Okay, guys, just for a health checkup like of the payroll. Okay, but actual run is the live payroll. When the production payroll is done, then you are done with your the second process group. Okay, that is a run payroll. So I will refer this as a process group rather. Pre-payroll, run payroll, post-payroll, periodical activities, all are process groups here. Okay? Or root level process group, you can say. So that is your definition of the run payroll. So once it is done, so next process group is your post payroll. Okay, so when I say post payroll, what you do? So generally post payroll, the finance posting happens here in this process. There's a finance posting. So for every employees will be paid a particular amount of salary, the amount, and every employee will be tagged a particular cost center. Okay, so here the integration concept comes into picture. Whether you are using SAP Finance or any other, mostly clients use FICO if they are having SAP HR SuccessFactors within place. So it is very easily integrated. In standard integration comes into picture, so they can directly do the payroll posting. So when I do as a payroll process, generally who does that and how it is done, that will be discussing length in the upcoming sessions. Okay, so when I say payroll posting, what is the exact meaning? So whenever you are doing the posting, so every cost, finance will be, your finance will be having a particular cost center. There will be credit and debit. Particular cost center or a set of cost centers which are responsible for employee salary. So that will be actually debited, and your employee specific cost center, okay, that will be credited. So those kind of debit and credit are those data is captured in your finance. Okay? So that is a major activity in your post payrolls. Once your payroll posting is done, once your payroll drive is done, so that we do in the finance side. Okay, so that is the third process group. Okay, so once it is done, the last one is the periodical activities, all kind of reportings. Okay, all kind of reportings or dashboard or reporting. When I say reporting, there are some compliance reportings, monthly compliance or yearly compliance. Okay, so those kind of reportings or compliance related activities or any kind of off-cycle payroll. When I say off-cycle payroll, what is the meaning? So off-cycle payroll can come under the second process or second bucket also. So whenever you are not running the payroll on a regular basis, rather in a specific date to pay the reimbursement amount or some ad hoc payment amount, say bonus, okay, that can be in one time, in once in a year, once in a while, depending upon your organization. Okay, that you do not run on the regular payroll cycle. Okay, so that actually comes under your off cycle payment. So that can be in the run payroll activity, that is second process group, or it can be, if it is in a reimbursement, and it can also come under the fourth periodical activities. So what are the tax filing or individual employee tax filing, okay, or any activities that we do on a periodical, on a regular basis, that comes under your periodical activities. So these are four major process groups.
Okay.
Okay. So any questions
Okay.
here?
No, got it. All good.
Yeah. This is a L0 processes. So whether you are running an SAP payroll or Workday payroll or Oracle HCM, whatever the payroll, so these four process group remains at the same. So we'll be coming to the L1 process now. Okay. So when I say L1 process, we'll be discussing one by one. So when I say L1, first we'll be discussing the pre-payroll. So here you can see the code also, the 50, 10, 50, 10, then 10 to 60, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So these are the things we do in pre-payroll activities. Okay. So when I say pre-payroll, the first one is the initiate payroll period. Okay. So what is the meaning of the initiate payroll period? That means you are switching from one period to another period. Okay. So suppose I have already run the payroll for December 2019. Okay. So once I'm done with my December 2019 payroll, I will be switching my control record. There's a concept of control record that I'll be coming into later on.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are aware of control record?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So
yes.
okay. So then when you start the initiate payroll period, just there is a switch, not a switch exactly. That's a time period that changes when you exit the previous pay control record. It moves to the next control next month control record. Okay, that we call actually the initiate payroll period. That means we started or initiated the payroll period for the first month of 2020. Okay, so that is the first activities, that first process. Okay, so once you have already moved to the, then you can't do anything in the you're already done with the December 2019, so you can't do any changes in the, means logically you can't do the changes, but there is a something called retro concept that I'll be coming to later on. Okay, so logically you have
Yeah.
moved from December 2019 to your January 2020. That is the concept, that is the definition of the initiate payroll period. Means you have initiated or started the payroll, current payroll period, that is your 2020 January. Okay, that is the first process group under pre-payroll. So once it is done, second one is the manage master data for payroll. So it is an again a regular process, like though whatever the master data has been updated. Suppose there is some employee event in that particular month. Suppose say some few n number of employees has joined and x number of employees joined and y number of employees left. So those master data will be you will be checking, although you'll be downloading some reports, or so you'll be checking any updation to be done in the master data. That is the activity we'll be doing in the second process, manage master data payroll. Okay, so when it is done, so third one is the import external data for payroll. Okay, so when I say import external data for payroll, so what is the meaning of that? So you will be using some programs or some import programs, so to update particular information. Okay, say around, it's a large organization and attrition is high, and you have around say 600 500 600 people, new people joined in the month of January 2020, and around say 100 to 200 people they left the organization. So you'll not be doing these activities manually, right? So there will be an import files. You will be using those import files to update a particular information. Say in that hiring of employees, some particular payroll specific data which employees may not have updated, that you need to update it, that you would like to update. Okay, by using that particular import functionality. Okay, so there are many import tools available. So in that import tool, you'll be, whatever the data is required, okay, that data will be, those data will be updating from that particular which is payroll specific data. Okay, that you will be importing in this third process. So for that reason we call it import external data for payroll. Okay, so it can be tax authority data, it can be any data, so which is specific to requirements
Any change in the bulk.
payroll in a particular month. Okay, so that is a third
So
process.
it is any change that's happening to the system in bulk, either multiple records are being imported. Yeah.
Exactly. So to differentiate between the second and third process, so when I say manage master data for payroll, it can be some small data, or it can be some sort of 5 or 10 employees.
Just couple of records or few records.
Yeah, 5 or which we can be handled manually. But the third one, when I say import, your import tools, whatever are available in your SuccessFactors, so we'll be using the bulk. So when I say import, it will be bulk. It refers to bulk people. Okay, so all the people who have a lot of data will be capturing. Okay, so that will be. So second and third process, it talks about updating the data. Okay, whether you are doing it manually or it doing a bulk program. Okay, so after it is done, then the fourth process is talks all about the quality of the data. Okay, check payroll data quality. Okay, so when I say check, so there is a intuitive dashboard which is already available in the EC payroll. So in that you can also use, or also you can download the reports to check the validate whether all the data, whatever required for the payroll, it is good in good quality or not. Okay, so when I say quality, so we'll be seeing what are the different data quality. So that during your the upcoming sessions, we'll be seeing what are the parameters. When I say check the payroll data quality, what can be the parameters, different parameters of the quality of the data quality, that we'll be seeing later on. But for the time being, we understand whether all the data, if anything is missing or any redundancy of the data is there. Okay, so it may happen, right? So again, you have to go back to the HR to update, so those kind of information that we'll be seeing the check payroll data quality part. So that is the fourth process. Fifth one is the process core HR data alert. Okay, so this is the another one alert, and the last one is the process payroll data alert. Okay, so what is the difference? So fifth process talks about the core HR data. Sixth process talks about the payroll data. Okay, so when I say core HR data, it is refers to the employee central data. Okay, so core HR means employee central data. Payroll data means specific to your payroll. Okay, suppose so for the fifth and sixth process, you have to design the alert also. The system has a capability to design the alert. Okay. Suppose you are designing an alert, say core HR data. Suppose if the bank data is missing, you have written a business rule that automatically system will give notifications to the payroll process manager or who is taking care of the payroll. So he will be getting a notification like say it is not towards the end of the month whenever you are initiating the payroll, rather on the day itself. Okay, suppose today is my joining. Suppose today Niladri joined an organization, and he as soon as I join, if I'm not updating by end of the day some specific payroll related data, my payroll admin or my payroll process admin who is taking care of my payroll, he'll be getting the same the day one itself. By end of the day itself, he'll be getting an alert that he has not updated. He has joined recently, but he has not updated his so and so data. Okay, core HR data. Okay, so those kind of alert can be highly configured. So again, it depends upon system comes up with a system. Whenever if you are using RDS, rapid deployment solution, system comes up with a specific set of alert which you can leverage. But if you're not using, still you can use those, you can configure.
Yeah, understood.
Okay, so those kind of data alert you can configure and you can set up. Okay, whether it is a employee central data or it is a payroll data. That is the definition of the how the alert will works and how this. Okay. So these are the 6 level. Okay, the 6 different processes in the L1 process. So what I will do, I will not be covering the L2 in details. I will recommend you to go through the L2 process in detail. So L2 processes, they have described who will be doing what. Okay, so this is one of the example of L2 processes. Okay, so as I was explaining, generally it is done by the payroll manager. So once the last period's payroll is closed, so there will be a payroll calendar for depending upon the particular organization and depending upon, okay, so that will be done by a payroll manager and they will be going for the next payroll calendar. Okay, this is just an example, one of the example of L2 process. I'll not be going very details. So similarly for master data also, you can see like in the master data update, you can see all the employee event the left hand side. Okay, so here you can see all the hiring, termination, transfer. Okay, so in that case, what are the things you have to update? Okay, so one thing I have to call out here. Here in some of the slides, you can see there is a violet or purple color. Okay, can you see that?
So for the basic transactions or the event happening in SuccessFactors relative, the activity or data maintenance activity will be created in the payroll, and then it will be assigned to respective people or parties. They will take care of that, and the payroll manager will run the payroll.
Okay. Yeah, so that is fine. So here, Nitin, here you can see there is some purple color. Can you guess what can be that particular purple color significant? What is the significance of that particular purple color?
So what I understand, what I understand from that is all the data that we are changing in SuccessFactors with the batch job run in the backend, it is replicating to ECP or the related payroll system.
Yeah, it's correct. So here, what is the main focus area? Whenever you see in this process library, wherever there is a violet color, it is specific to targeting to the EC payroll activities. You can see the data replication. Okay. So when I say data replication, employee receive employee data, check data replication status. So all these are part of a EC payroll specific activities. Data replication, there is something called data replication monitor that we'll be seeing in the upcoming sessions. Okay, so similar the EC mess up. Okay, maintain payroll specific data. Okay, so In that case, EC mass up. So your whatever your fields or info types you are having in the on-premise, that you will be able to see in your EC payroll. Okay. So all those payroll data specific data,
Okay.
country specific data. Okay. So here you can see there are some specific information which is generally happens in the US payroll specific, like garnishment, social security. Some of few other things are not there for not. It is very generic. These processes are not country. These are not country specific. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
You
fine.
can design as
Yeah.
per your requirement. Okay, so I'll not be going very details into that. Just go through, and if you have any queries, then
Yeah.
in the upcoming session you can ask me. So I'll be just quickly going through. Similarly, for external data, what are the external source as I was mentioning? Okay, so there are different logs, import logs, external logs. There are some how to fix those. Okay, so these are all basic things. Okay, so similarly for payroll data quality check, what are the things activity will be doing? Okay, so that test results, test payroll alert. Here you can see all of the. I'll call out one point here. In the check payroll data quality, PCC come into picture. Okay. Payroll control center, which we'll be discussing specifically towards the end of 4 to 5 session dedicated for PCC. Okay, payroll control center. Okay, how it works and all that will be covering the details in that at that point of time. Okay, so check payroll data quality is one of the key activities for
Yeah.
your payroll control center, which is considered as the heart of the employee central payroll. That we'll be discussing towards the end. Okay, PCC. Okay, so here all the PCC activities whenever you are doing those tools is actually highlighted here. Okay, that is a payroll data quality. So similarly, assigning the payroll alert is also another process. So processing a core HR data alert. Okay, so just go through these processes. Okay, so you have access to. So similarly for
Okay.
L1 process, I'll be just focusing. So when I say L1 process, running the payroll. So here we have again run payroll means that is a regular payroll run. Run off-cycle payroll means that is an off-cycle payroll run, just like your reimbursement or any kind of bonus payment. Okay,
Ad hoc payments.
ad hoc payments, all kind of. Okay, so when I say run payroll, so
Yeah.
here you can see PCC plays a major role. You can see in lot of all our yellow color box in the top of that you can see there is a PCC option here. Okay. So what are the activities we do and what are the activities, all the parallel activities? We just go through this in entire process once. Okay. So just I focused on L0 and L1 process, but L2 processes can vary depending upon your organization or client's specific process. There can be one or two processes you can skip depending upon your scenarios. Okay. So that is run payroll. Similarly, for run off-cycle payroll, only thing is the period will be different. Okay, so you don't have to wait till the month end, rather as and when it is required. Okay, but it can be. So in these two slides, you can see there is an integration between your, once your run payroll is done, there is an integration between a FICO module. What they have mentioned is a finance and controlling. That is nothing but your FICO. Okay.
Okay.
So here you can see in send total expected payments for info when what data is outgoing from the payroll, that is the send total expected payment. So suppose there are 1,000 employees, so what for total 1,000 employees, what is the total amount of the payment you are doing? Okay, that data finance requires. That does. Okay, so once it is done, then again, if any, what are the data incoming from FICO, like if any you are having any discrepancies. Okay, some cost center is not matching. Okay, so debit and credit is not matching. Okay, so that means one or two employee have not paid. Okay, depending upon the master data. Okay, that can be one of the issues. Okay, so those kind of information will be capturing, will be getting those kind of reports or problems, and if any. Okay, so generally that doesn't happen if your integration before integration only your posting itself many of the problems solved. 99% problems are resolved. Okay, so this is the kind of back and forth will happen between your payroll to FICO. It is not only the EC payroll since
Yeah. Okay.
on-premise. Okay, so this kind of activities will be happening in your off-cycle and all. So, okay, next one is the
Okay.
post payroll. As I was mentioning, what are the activities we do in the posting the payroll? So basically, we have like executing the payroll payments. So there is a transactions how to run the payroll. All the payments happens. once it is done, your posting will be happening. There is another transaction code. So when I say transaction code or T code, that refers to your on-premise days activities. Okay, so those activities will be done in the finance. Okay, mostly. So then the execute payroll reporting. So all the reportings also available, although it is available in your EC payroll, those reports also can be downloadable in your on-premise also. Okay, so that we'll be discussing in the post payroll. So similarly, the post payroll, all the bank payment, bank information. Okay, how if there is any approving authorities. Okay, so that will be also done in this executing the payroll payment. Okay, so this is all about in details you can go through, and this is just generic process. L1, L2 process as basically generic one, or depending upon your setup, client specific scenarios, you can modify. Okay, you can take it as a model. Okay, so just like any other module, so take it as a model.
Okay.
Okay, you can change. Okay, so that is the things you have to do. Similarly, whenever it comes to year-end activities, all the tax filing and all. So those things, how it happens, how who will be doing what. So here you can see web GUI. When I say web GUI, so if you may refer some third party your websites to complete those activities. Okay, so those kind of examples also come into picture. If you are using ADP payroll or some other interface, okay, along with your current process, that also will be coming into picture here. The web GUI is all about that. So this is all about your L0, L1, L2 processes. L2 processes, it is your assignment to go through those L2 processes in details. If any terminology or anything you just, if you are missing or if you are not able to understand, today just let me know, you go through the topic and let me know. If you can ping also, you can otherwise you can ask tomorrow. But any specific block you couldn't understand. Okay, that is the things. This is all about your payroll L0, L1, and L2 processes. Okay. Good to go. Shall we go to the next page?
Yeah, you can move. Yeah.
Yeah. So next phase will be going for the basics of Australian payroll. So as you are already staying there, so when many of the stuffs you are already knowing. Okay, so but the slides which I have already prepared, those are actually to start from very basics. Okay, like first of all, I just started with the demographies, and also I'll not be focusing much here. So you are most part of this Melbourne, right? So Victoria. So this part of this country. So I'll not be covering much, lot of heavy details. All the geographies also are captured, so I'll not be boring you. You are already aware of sixth largest country and all.
Sure.
Okay, so
yes,
the generic information, slides anyway I'll be sharing, so don't worry. So monetary unit, $1 Australian, 100 cents. So what is the GNI? What is the all these things just captured for a completion point of view. Okay. So 6 states, 10 territories. I forgot to mention the time zones as well. I could. So 3 internal territories, 7 internal territories. So I'm not focusing going into details. Okay. So yeah. So National Employment Standard. So this I'll be coming. So are you aware of anything about NES?
Heard of it. That's all.
Okay. So National Employment Standards is nothing but actually it is in the policies by Australian government, and which regulates what should be your maximum hours of work, what should be your paid and unpaid leave. Okay. So notice of whenever you are terminating an employee, so what should be the notice period, what should be the redundancy pays. Okay. So all those, it is applicable for some of the state public sector employees. So what are the possible rules and regulations as Australia, as per the Fair Work Act? There's an act on 2009, they have ruled it out. Okay. So depending upon that particular act, what are the do's and don'ts? So generally it is in the organization is bound to follow this kind of standards. Okay. So that is a NEA standard. So this is just nothing to do with your payments, your overall EC payroll, rather from a payroll point of view. What on as an HR, suppose an HR administrator or payroll administrator he's working. So what during the policy designs, okay, they have to abide by these laws. Nothing else.
I understand.
Okay, this is the National Employment Standards. Okay, So this is a, so when I say income tax and social security in Australia, the Australia financial year runs on the 1st July to 30th of June. Okay, that is your financial year.
Correct. Yes.
So you've already spent 3 years there, right? So you will know better.
Yeah,
This.
filed my taxes, man. Yeah, I done that.
Okay. Good, good, good. So it is regulated by the ATO. We call it ATO, Australian Taxation Office, just similar to Income Tax Department of India. So that is an
Correct.
governing authority. So which just whenever required, I'll give an analogy because you are already working in India and so I'll give an analogy so
Yeah,
that so it is easy to understand.
that's all right. Yeah, it's good to relate. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is an income tax financial year, and these are some tax season that we call it tax season. So for current financial year, you are not started. It will be starting on July to October. Okay, that is your tax season. So during that time, you generally report to the authorities, tax authorities, like file all the filing and happens. Okay, for 2019-20 is July 2019 to 30 June or 2020. That is your financial year. Okay, so this is just a basic one. Okay, so as I was mentioning, the tax date ATO, Australian Tax Office, it takes care of it, and whether it is an employee's resident or not, there are some variations. Okay, so for an so whenever it is required, I just highlighted the major one. Okay, so whenever if you are paying the taxation, so within 7 days of funds being withheld from the employee. So this we have to understand. Okay. So similarly, the tax gets paid monthly by the 21st of the next month. Okay. So it will be, suppose your current month. Okay. So part of the taxes means it is from an organization point of view, not an employee point of view. Okay. Because the organization has to pay the total tax, and so it should be by the monthly by the 21st of the next following month. That is the timeline. So this one I'll be asking to you because I'm not sure how much. So in terms of superannuation, what is the percentage you are doing? It is for any idea you have?
Yeah, this is, yeah, sometimes, I mean, this is correct as of now. 9.5 is good.
9.5 only, right?
So, yeah, this is right.
Okay, this is correct. So this is a superannuation.
Yes.
So for employees, similar to our PEF, if I am correct. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
Okay. So
Correct.
generally,
You're right. You're right.
yeah, this capping again depends upon the years to year, but at present, currently it is 9.5% that we call 9.5% of the ordinary time earning. So means total your whatever you're earning, that is actually to pay the superannuation for the employees. Okay, so this is actually the cap can change, and also employees and on options to increase their contribution. Okay, just like we have in India, we voluntary pay we can increase. Similarly,
voluntary pay.
Also, yeah, it is from the pre-tax dollars. So whatever the Australian dollar pre-tax, okay, you can increase the contribution. Okay, and what is the timeline for superannuation? That is by the organization 28th of the particular month or subsequent quarter. That is from a superannuation point of view. So these are the basic policies when it comes to superannuation. And similarly, from an organization point of view, all the organizations working in Australia, they must have to obtain and
ABN and TFN.
your ABN and TFN. Okay, that is your Australian business number and the tax file number. So from ATO they have to capture. And similarly, there is an authority again, ASIC, Australian Securities and Investment Commission, which is actually part of the same government, but which generally regulates the incorporation and administration of the companies. Okay? So in case of any subsidiary companies, then they have to, within a week, they have to report if anything is happening. So that is just from a general knowledge point of view. And these are the websites, Australian Taxation ATO, Fair Work, and asic.gov.au. So for further information, you can go and anytime in the next year, if you'd like to see anything new, then you have to follow these specific websites. These are the official websites where you generally are already aware of. Similarly, when it comes to the social security, so at present, just I'll be asking to you, are you doing anything in this bucket in contribution for social security, or is it optional?
No, I think we are not doing that.
We are not doing that, but again, it is an optional. Okay, so it's the kind of, for that
Yes.
reason, I have used the terminology here called salary sacrifice is before tax. Suppose you are doing anything, say there's a particular bucket also, and if the maximum amount of concessional superannuation is there, okay, and depending upon your age, it is varies. Okay, if the individual is aged 49 or over, then it is up to, there's a capping, okay, up to 35,000 Australian dollar per annum. If you're below 49, then it will be up to 30,000 Australian dollar per annum. Okay, so the idea is to kind of employees deduction will be happening, and it will pay to the government agency for the particular sixth of the particular month. Okay, so that you can get some tax saving. So that is the only purpose. Just like similar to in India, I'll be giving another example. It is our
Yeah.
NPS, National Pension Scheme, which is not a compulsory thing, right?
Correct.
Okay, so
Correct.
it is an option of an employee whether to contribute or not. Okay, if it is already
Yeah.
paid, but this last year, from personally speaking, I have contributed last year. I started contributing last year. Okay, so it is
Okay.
up to,
Okay.
it is a
Good.
choice is given to the employee whether they would like to go it or not. So for a tax saving purpose. Okay, so that is the only thing here. The last point is also important here. You can see an employee whose total contribution in a year exceed the
Yeah, you
contribution
can see
cap,
that.
that is liable to tax. Suppose if you are crossing a limit, then you have to pay some additional tax on the additional
I
accessory.
understand.
That is the point here.
Yeah.
That's regarding
Got
business
it.
activity. Okay, once it is done, so next one is important for Australian payroll reporting. From a reporting or tax point of view, what are the reports generally, uh, and what frequency generally you, as an HR or HR payroll admin, what are the payroll reports they will be running? It can be your tax report, it can be the different calculations of the superannuation report, and these reports generally to be submitted 7th of each month. Okay, so depending upon your
Correct.
companies, okay, so it have to be deposited, and those reports are readily available in on-premise or payroll, SAP payroll, and that you can replicate into the EC payroll also. Those report also we can download. Okay, you have to send it to the authorities and all. Similarly, when it comes to the yearly payroll, so there are some specific reports. Okay, fringe benefit tax or some payroll payment summary
Yeah.
or certificate. Those things actually you require to report. So similarly, there are some two things: business activity statements, IAS, that is your installment activity statement. Okay. So this activity statement you have to deposit, and if you have to register for GST. So these are the few things you have to remember from a BAS and IAS point of view. Okay. So some basic reports again. Okay. So when it comes to the tax, so now I'll be coming to the tax rates. So you're already aware of. I'll be directly going to the current one. I'll not be so historical. I'll not be showing. So 4 types of individual taxpayers in Australia: residents, foreign residents, children, and working holiday makers. Okay. So generally people fall into the first two, residents or foreign residents. Okay. And there are some specific tax rates for 2019-20. This is the current tax rate, and like up to $18,200 there is no tax. Okay, similar the category in 18,001 to $37,000, 19 cents for each dollar over 18,200. So you don't have to worry about it. This system automatically calculates.
Yes.
Okay, you don't have to calculate it, and like if you like
Yeah.
to check anything, then you can use a calculator already available in
Labs. Yeah.
government website, and SAP is compliant to that. Okay, so whatever this you can't configure, means generally what happens, this kind of configurations, whether it is an Indian payroll, Australia payroll, US payroll, Canada payroll, any country payroll, SAP, whenever this tax slabs changes, SAP comes up with a note. Okay, SAP notes, and
Correct.
by applying that particular note, or there are some manual changes to be done in the system, SAP will be clearly mentioning those configurations, and those configurations
Okay.
once
Okay.
done, so these slabs will be coming whenever I'll be showing the tax specific tables, okay, where exactly it gets captured generally, and by applying that note or by doing those manual changes,
I understand. Yeah.
automatically those things gets updated. You don't have to worry about it. System, whenever you're running the payroll, automatically these
I
taxes
understand.
are taken care. Okay, so that is the total resident tax rates for 1920. So I'll not be going details into 1819. I'm not worried about it. Similarly, foreign residents, there is a different slabs. Okay, so
Yeah.
so you are, how have you calculated your things? So how will be coming under this one or before one? Just for my
Resident one.
this resident one, all right? You have already
Resident one.
resident one. You are okay. Okay, you fall into this set to 1920. Good, good.
Yeah.
So foreign resident taxes is not then federal budget. Whenever it is required, then that will be on. And people under 18, how it will be treated. Okay, so for people under 18, so again there are some policies like accepted person, how there's some little bit difference, variation of the changes. Okay. Similarly, people who are on holiday, working holiday is actually, it is
Yeah, this I understand.
You understand, you already understand. So I'll not be going into details of it.
Yeah, I this
visa,
yeah.
Your working day, holiday maker, if you have a visa, there are different kinds of visa subclass and also for one you already experienced, so I'm not going into details into that. Okay, so towards the end, last point is a fair work ombudsman. So what is that? So it is an it regulates
this is the
leaves,
authority to design those policies and
design those policies
documents.
and for policies and also your leave regulations also. And this, ideally, these are the set of leaves to be configured whenever in your EC or whatever, depending on the policy and design the policy. These are the set of types
Correct.
in Australia. So are you availing all this, or you are not still nothing, means one or two missing in your just for
No, all good.
all good, all of
Yeah.
you are following, right? So we are regulated as per your this fair ombudsman, Australian government. So again, this is not very specific. This is very generic one. 8 hours. I think you are working more than that. Or
Yeah, we can skip this,
okay,
Niladri. Yeah, we can skip these things.
Okay, we can speak. Okay. Okay. So are you aware of STP? STP is an end of regulations. Like all the Australia government, actually they have asked single touch for a payroll. Okay. So it should be some regulation. This is a very not very old. Okay, 2018-17 they have started it. So our EC payroll is already compliant of this. So from an EC payroll point of view, okay, I'll be just telling that it is in line with your whatever the government has given authorization. So single touch payroll means there should not be many manual intervention and all. Okay, that is the idea. Okay, you can go through this details. So next one is the whenever you need new employees, what are the activities? This is again specific to onboarding as well as a payroll. So I generally cover this things in onboarding also. So TFN declaration form you have to do, and that should be done, must be. Otherwise, you'll be directly 47.55% tax. So that should not be, if you're not filling that. So these are the basic information. Okay. Similarly, people who are leaving, this again offboarding thing. Okay, so what are the things they have to do? Okay, so those regulations I just mentioned here. Okay, so this is towards the end, and pay as you go, that is a policy. Okay, so depending upon your different agreements and all. So again, I'll not be direct, it's not very clear. So when it comes to the SAP, payroll solution provider like SAP regulates compliant with all the things whatever we have discussed. Okay. Similarly, the pay slips must be issued in the one working day of the salary payment. Suppose today you are paid, within the next one day, your pay slip must be there in your ESS. Okay. Similarly, the payroll reports from an archiving point of view, last point is important, you have to remember. Like what are the payroll reports you are maintaining as per the Australian
for the last 7 years.
Australian government is required to maintain all the data related to the at least for the 7 years. More than 7 years good, but at least 7 years from the you have to should be captured.
Okay, I understand.
That is taken care by your archiving, any archiving module, data archiving. That should be there in your. So whenever you're implementing your EC or any SuccessFactors module, it's always recommend to use some kind of archiving tools as well. So that is the overall today's sessions, Nitin. So any questions or any expectations from other than that? It's just today's very basic thing I discussed. Started with
no, all good.
processes, and we'll be going ahead into very deep details. Okay. And second one is the very basics of the processing Australia specific payroll. In the upcoming session, next session basically we'll be starting with the your info types. What are the mandatory payroll info types because on-premise is also important. What are the many activities to be done in your on-premise? So before we ahead,
Okay.
okay. So what I will be doing, I'll be sending a document today. This is a very comprehensive document. Have you worked on PAOM any chance, or your brand?
Yeah, I'm across.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've not worked on these things, but I'm across PA and OM things, and
Okay.
how do we maintain an IMG tool and some
Okay.
details
Okay.
around it.
Okay. Okay.
So
you're
so
already
we will try to.
okay. Okay. So what I will do, I'll be sharing this document. Generally, I share this document who people who are not very new. Rather, I will say it is also helpful for me generally to refresh something. So suppose I would like to revisit, I don't have to revisit.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll be sharing this document, which I actually taken in around 2013, 14 around. So this document, if you see, is a very comprehensive document. So in this document, all the on-premise modules are covered in a very crisp way. Okay? So here I'll be just asking you to just don't have to read line by line, rather.
Sure. I understand. I'll go through those things. Yeah.
So there are some basic
So
things.
couple of things.
Okay. Chapter 1.
Yeah, sure. We'll go through that.
Okay, I'll be sending this today itself. And you have to go through the chapter number. I'll just mentioning chapter number 3. Recruiting is not required at all. Chapter that is if
Sure.
you see.
Send me the document and the set. Yeah, Niladri, send me the document and the items that you want me to go through.
Yeah.
And also, if there is, for example, whatever X, Y, or Z we are going to cover for the next day, if there is something that you want me to get heads up beforehand, do let me know. This is just to save time and to keep the momentum in the session.
Momentum,
Okay?
yes, understood. Yeah. So what I will be telling you, so generally, whenever you're configuring the on-premise system also, how to do it in a very timely manner. Here you can see from this topic, let's say chapter number 4, PA configuration in less than 24 hours. Means the writer, what I like about this book is they have written a very crispy manner, and they have not skipped anything which is critical for any kind of say system setup. When I'm setting up a payroll system, there are some prerequisites. So what I will say, I will just say you the chapter number 4 you can go through, and chapter number 3. Okay. So these two chapters you can just have a glance. Okay, I'll not be telling you go line by line, rather it will be having a glance. And also whenever you are having a system, okay, so these are the activities to be done on premise at the first. Okay, so this setup will be done. So just to go through this chapter number 3 and chapter number 4, if you have any questions you can ask me tomorrow. Okay. So similarly, the chapter number 6 will be covering in subsequent days. Okay, it will take 8 to 9 hours. Okay, to complete the chapter number 6. I'll be going into details of that because I'll be focusing on the PCR schemas also. Generally, that is the heart of the on-premise payroll. As I was mentioning, PCC, that is the payroll control record. This is the heart of your EC payroll. Similarly, this PCR, these are the personal calculation rules. Okay, so those are the heart of your on-premise payroll. Okay, with EC payroll comes into picture, it doesn't mean that PCR is ignored. Nothing like that. So PCR will play a strong role, and that is the one of the strongest and most powerful features of the on-premise payroll, which most of the leading other payroll vendors they couldn't compete with SAP, and that is the one of the USP for your SAP payroll. People go ahead with the payroll with that. Okay, that will be covering.
Totally.
Okay. So that is the overall idea. Okay. So that's all for the today, and I'll be sharing this document shortly. Today it's now itself, and we will be seeing it tomorrow. Okay. Okay, Niladri. Okay. Thank you very much, Nitin. Any question, other?
Thanks, Nitin.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Okay. Have a good day. Bye.
You too.
Bye.